this is pretty crazy to me. I didn't actually think in the year 2019 that we would be looking at Boss Rush, and God, it has been so long since I have actually seen this. So I was looking through, kind of laying out OCG decks for this week, and I actually wanted to cover this on a separate video because I actually wanted to go more in-depth with this deck and kind of talk about a little bit of things that you can change and try Boss Rush in the TCG, because this is probably, in terms of support and things that the Boss Rush deck actually has going for it, there are a lot of struggles that we've kind of had to overcome with this archetype. I don't know if it was just poor card design or things like that, but when they started coming out with the BES monsters back in the day, a lot of people just kind of looked at them like, oh, why do I want to play core tribute monsters that are going to have to do things? Well, over time, we've progressively seen them get more support, and with those support, you know, it leads to people wanting to test new bad ideas and things like that. And you're probably looking at this, you're like, Robbie, really? We're going to look at Boss Rush? Yes, we are. So let's kind of take a look and see what really makes the Boss Rush deck, you know, Boss Rushy. So the core big monster, BES big core, when this card is normal summon, you have to place 3 counters on it. It cannot be destroyed by battle, and then at the end of the damage step, if this card battled, you have to remove 1 counter from this card, and if you cannot, this guy is actually going to detonate himself. It's kind of one of the flaws originally when they were designing these monsters was, well, unfortunately, they detonate after X counters are removed from them. Kind of a bad flaw design, but I can understand it. And then triple of the big core MK2. If you control no monsters, you get to normal summon this guy without tribute. Okay. When this card is special summoned, you can place 3 counters on it. This card cannot be destroyed by battle. And if this card attacks or is attacked, you have to remove 1 counter from this card at the end of the damage step, if not, destroy this card. So this guy, they at least do give you a means to normal summon him without a tribute, but if you do so, you're bringing out a boss monster without tokens, and that's not a good thing. Like, this goes against the archetype. And then of course, like, the real last boss monster that you have going for yourself is actually MK3. If your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters, you get to special summon this guy from your hand in defense mode. If this card is normal or special summoned, you get to place 3 counters on this guy. Once again, this one cannot be destroyed by battle. At the end of damage step, if this card battles, remove 1 counter from this card. If you cannot destroy this card, you can banish this card from your graveyard to shuffle all BES monsters from your graveyard into your deck. So one of the things that they wanted Boss Rush to be able to do was have some sort of core recyclability, which in the grand scheme of things isn't a terrible ass idea, but like you still have to rely on broken cards. You know, like Skill Drain kind of gets you where you be. Now, this is where things kind of started getting interesting. So BEF Zelos is their field spell. When this card is activated, you can add 1 Boss Rush from your deck to your hand. All BS monsters you control will gain 500 attack and defense. So you're looking at 28, 29, and 33. Okay. Or excuse me, this will be 32. Okay, so that's good. Your opponent cannot target them with card effects. They cannot be destroyed by your card effect or opponent's card effects. And then once per turn, you can special summon 1 BS from your hand. If a BS is normal summoned or special summoned to your field, you get to place a counter on it. So what we have here is we buff up all of our guys, and this actually gives them the other immunities. So they'll basically be turning into essentially Cosmo ships that your opponent can't touch. And then ye old Boss Rush, you cannot normal summon or set. During the end phase of a turn that a BS or big core is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 BS or 1 big core from your deck. So basically, this is what's going, literally on activation, we search for Boss Rush, and to top things off, we're getting that essential boost. Like, this card literally brought the core of this deck together. So once again, you are unfortunately pretty much a skill drain based deck. In the TCG, we don't get the full advantage of this, but there are other ways around this because, you know, we do have things like Solemn Warnings and Strikes to kind of take over that void. And you've got other really cheeky trap cards and things that you can kind of abuse to, like I said, kind of fill that void for things. But let's go ahead and dig on into the deck profile and kind of talk about a few things here. So this is the original 2300. There are other ships out there. They're Not as great. You kind of got to choose your poison and things like that, but I believe in terms of stackability and numbers, going with these are the best. So this is, like I said, I wish this card did more, but you're turning all of your ships into untargetables and just beat sticks. Like, okay, so triple of the BES core, triple of the normal summon, no counters, but I mean with Mr. B of Zealous on the field, you'll at least get one counter on this guy, and he'll be a free drop anyway. So, and then of course, triple of the MK3. I think that this card is literally the fact that they gave this deck a Pot of Avarice, even like you can play around the desires. That's actually pretty insane to me. I don't just really good cards for no real reason. And then, of course, we're kind of rounding this line out up with 2 Prankatops. I actually really like this. Prankatops gives you another large beat stick while you're hiding behind Skill Drain. Also, being able to spot out something that your opponent could potentially be hindering you with as an actual out is absolutely fine. Now, we are playing triple copies of BEF Zealous. You have absolutely no reason not to be playing one of the best cards in your deck. Now, this is one that I could argue that you could go to 2 of if you don't want to essentially see dead draw boss rushes. But once again, boss rush is that core card of your deck. You want to make sure that you can see it. And yeah, I mean, you'll be activating it off of BEF Zealous anyway. So that's kind of something to consider. Now, this deck is also playing Triple Desires, and I can already hear my comment section going, oh my god, really? Like, why do I want to play Desires in this deck? Resources, resources, and resources. The card says draw 2, and it's not like you can't, as long as you see some ships, it's not like you won't be able to recycle them, at least in a way that you can with this. So, once again, this is going to be the heart and soul of your deck. Now, we are playing triple cards, or triple indulgence. Once again, another card that has the text draw 2. This is actually, I would argue that this is going to be one of the more important ones. Just make sure that when you're playing this deck, you're maintaining your resources. You're paying attention to kind of what's going on here. And I think you'll be fine in the long run. Now, they have 1 terraforming. We have 2. You can drop a metaverse for this. I don't see any real issue with this. Now, one of the cool things that you can do with this deck is you do have Trap Trick for Compulse. Compulse will give you that fresh 1-for-1. You can add the ship back to your hand to make sure that it doesn't get killed in an inappropriate time. Or you get access to, hey, spot removal something of your opponent's. 2 copies of Heavy Storm Duster, another target for a Trap Trick, making sure that anything that they might set up and try to do to you, that would be quote-unquote devastating. You can kind of dodge the bullet for that, so I do like that. Another great card for Trap Trick, this is actually really cute, is Metaverse. Once again, activating that to be Zealous from your deck, and then, you know, searching for Boss Rush for the next turn. Pretty fucking cute, actually. Now, I did say that the unfortunate downside to this deck is this is a skill drain based deck, and you can kind of adjust and mess around with ideas and things like that, because I know there are a lot of people out there that'll look at this and be like, huh, I like the ideas that the OCG is coming up with this. Shutting off your ships from removing counters, pretty goddamn good. And it's not like you don't have infinite draw means to try to dig into your skill drain anyway, and I call it what it is. Now, this deck does have 2 Judgment. The OCG is a lot more... They have a lot more issues with Harpy's Feather Duster running around and ruining days than we do in the TCG, so take it with a grain of salt. Obviously, I would still play 1 Judgment. Abso-fucking-lutely. No reason not to, because you do want that protection. Very easy replacement for a warning or something like that. And then triple heart and soul of the deck, Trap Trick. Oh god, just the shenanigans you can do with Metaverse definitely makes me smile. Now, the extra deck levels we have here are 6s, 6s, and we have 8s. So you're going to be basing the extra deck around setting up 2 ships. You get the ability to kind of mess around, overlay them, penalize your opponent for plays. That's what we want to do. So we have 1 number 62, triple copies of Utopia Beyond. This is probably going to be the guy you're going to go into 95% of the time. 1 Hope Harbinger, 1 number 23, 1 107, 1 Gauntlet Launcher, 1 copy of Full Armor Dragon, 1 copy of Cypher Dragon, 1 Cypher Blade Dragon, 1 Felgrando, 1 of the Dahamper Vampire Sheridan, of course 1 Alcé, and this man's spirit card was Coagula Hercules. I actually love the fact that he put this in his extra deck. So this is Boss Rush OCG Edition. I'd like to hear what you guys think about this deck. Please Comment down below, tell me what you guys think. I'd love to hear some crazy ideas that other people have come up with for Boss Rush out there. It's been a long time coming. Alright guys, I'm out. The ride never, well, truly ends. Thank you, patrons. Without you guys, I don't know what I'd be wearing in these videos. I might be a truffle shuffle incident all over again. Guys, please also check out Vanquil40 for some awesome Vanguard content. Some other interesting stuff you might find up here on the left or in the description as well. Thanks for watching.